Welcome to Business Connect, a podcast produced and presented by the City of Miramar in the great state of Florida, the gateway to the Caribbean and Latin America. This podcast airs every third Thursday in the month at 7 p.m. and brings you information, tips, and ideas from experts to take your business to the next level. We also get to hear from folks who have done it all and can share insights with you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Johnny Douglas.
Welcome to the City of Miramar, where we connect your business to what's important. My name is Johnny Douglas, and I'm your host for today. Today, our discussion will be apprenticeship programs and how it impacts our trades. Today, we have a lot going on today. I know that normally Apprenticeship Week is celebrated in November, around November 13th, but I felt the need for us to bring it forward today to have that intimate conversation. Today, we have a full panel. We have a full house today with our visitors here that's going to help us enlighten us and teach us more about apprenticeship programs. There we have Mr. Felix Colazo. He is with the Junior Achievement. Can you tell us a little bit about your business?
All right, so my name is Felix Colazo. I'm Director of Pre-Apprenticeship Programs at Junior Achievement of South Florida. Junior Achievement as an organization has been around for over 100 years. It's always focused on, giving back to the community by teaching the youth at various age levels about financial literacy and, options for career pathways. Recently, we made the jump when I joined the organization to address this by teaching youth about the opportunities in the trade industries, most notably the maritime industry and the construction industry. So I developed a pre-apprenticeship program that we're running right now. It's a 6-month program that does just that. We take high school seniors and young adults. We do career exploration in the maritime and construction industry, and then we do technical training and in hopes of transitioning them into registered apprenticeship programs.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm glad to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
And also we have Miss Catherine Menace. She's with the Broward County Economic Development. Can you tell us a little bit about your organization?
Sure. I am with the Broward County Office of Economic and Small Business Development.
Thank you.
I serve as a Senior Program Project Coordinator with the Economic Development section of that agency. Our agency is responsible for small business certification. We seek to find businesses that's willing to scale up and grow. We have an entrepreneurship arm where we teach them intentional entrepreneurship, find out if they're really serious about growing their business and helping them with a business plan. On the economic development side, I manage the construction apprenticeship program. Not a full-fledged program as yet. We just got through the legislation in 2021. Working with all of the apprenticeship training programs to make sure that we help to market them throughout Broward County, and also making sure that the programs are vetted, working with the stakeholders, the colleges, the universities, the junior achievements, just to make sure we understand their pre-apprenticeship programs and the training programs to make sure we have high-paying jobs and people that's ready to work in the building trades.
Thank you so much, Catherine. That is very important as well.
Very important.
And now we have also with us today Mike Talbert. Mike Talbert is with Apprenticeship Director, Broward County Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, right? Local 719.
Correct. Yeah, we're located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We currently do plumbing and pipe fitting and welding. We are also associated with HVAC as well as sprinkler fitters. And we're here to really bring it forward. I'm glad you came up with this program and things to come out and tell the most undercover secret in the world. I think it's phenomenal what's happening now with apprenticeship, and it's great to be in the door. And as far as a union apprenticeship, we're here to help whatever way we can, and also to get things going for us as well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm so glad to have all three of you here today. I remember, I'm going to talk a little bit about my age when I say this. I remember being in high school, and you had a choice if you were on the pathway to college, or you're on the pathway of doing, they had automobile, and they had shop, and they had home ec that would prepare you for other things in life besides going to college. That's no longer the case in high school anymore. So apprenticeship programs were developed because of that. What is an apprenticeship program? If you were to break that down for someone who's listening and may not be familiar with the term apprenticeship program, what is that? Any one of you can answer that.
I think the way to define it is you're working on the job, getting on the job training, and you're doing school at night or however the program is run as far as day. It's both a combination of related training and on the job training. A lot of times you see a difference where it comes in is the apprenticeship really helps you man the job and get the hours in both aspects, to whereas when you come out of a college or something like that, a lot of times you have a lot of bills coming out and you're starting at the bottom rung and the pay amount sometimes doesn't help you cover everything. Where apprenticeships, you're getting both. You're getting paid as you learn.
That is that is awesome. When I first started learning about apprenticeship programs, I was so intrigued. I thought, wow, why don't more people know about this? Like, this is just, because if we do our research and study, 15% of kids, maybe even more, are not on the college path. They don't go to college.
At least
And then you have some college kids who can't afford to go to college. And so what a better way to start your career than to go into apprenticeship programs where you can get a trade. And trades have always taken care of America, and it's always been the baseline, the leadway, the gateway to American economy. So I like that. So what are the benefits that a student can get from an apprenticeship program?
Free learning.
Free learning, okay.
You're not paying for the tuition like you would go to college or even to a trade school in particular. Sometimes you do have to pay to get into there. And with our program, the way it is nationwide, we're also affiliated where we have colleges that give college credits when you complete our program. Broward College is one of ours, where you earn 27 college credits when you complete our program towards an associate's degree. We use Washtenaw Community College, which is in Michigan, where our instructors go to be taught how to teach what they know. But you're given 45 college credits, and you only need 60 for your associate's degree, and it just opens a lot more doors.
Wow. And these are the things that high school students don't know, and some of their parents don't know, that could make the big difference in decisions when they're graduating from high school. I love that. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
I like to say that it's a lifelong experience. The skill that you learn, you'll have it for a lifetime.
Wow. That's awesome. That is awesome. The benefits for the employer. There are great benefits for the employer for even developing an apprenticeship program within an organization. Would that be correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
and I kind of want to touch on your last point as far as there's definitely a vacuum of knowledge that parents are lacking, students are lacking, because there aren't those trade programs in the schools like how you said you were growing up. You know, you had shop, you had welding, you had all these programs that you could just dive into. And I think that's where the pre-apprenticeship program fits in. It's kind of like an educational tool for this generation of teenagers that are trying to find a way. Just today, you know, I have the pre-apprenticeship program. We have, 50 students, and we asked them before we got the day started, how many of you all intend to go to college, and not a single hand went up. Wow. And these are the top students at their schools. These are your 3.0, your 3.5 GPA students. So they can go to college. They have the skill set to go to college, but they don't want to.
They don't want the debt.
They don't want the debt. They just want to work with their hands. They want to be creative in a different space than academia. So it's the pre-apprenticeship program is that perfect conduit to educate the parents and show the parents that there is another option other than college, a option that's high wage. There's huge benefits. Mike can talk about the benefits once you get to in the industry, and I think we actually help the employer on the front end. Because for a lot of the employers in this industry, there's a lot of turnover and maybe even burnout, but if you address it early and educate them early as to what they're getting into, you're getting somebody who's prepared for what that looks like. So the pre-apprenticeship prepares them for what the apprenticeship program is going to be like. Telling them what they're going to get into, what they're going to learn, and even preparing them, almost like prerequisites for the apprenticeship program. And then for the employer, you're getting somebody who's, vetted. You're getting somebody who's vetted. You get somebody who's already knows what they're going into. So when the employer foots that bill for that registered apprenticeship program, they know they're going to get bang for their buck because that student is already ready to go.
Okay, awesome. Now, before we move on to the other question, I wanted to ask this. We're dealing with the Gen Z. The Gen Z. Do you find it a little bit difficult to reach that group of students? Most of the students that I've run into, they're very technologically inclined. They rather stay home, and they're usually on their computers or their smartphones. They're working away. They're being influencers. We find more of those on.
Yeah.
So is that a tough target right now for you, or you find that easy?
I think it's twofold. I think you'd be surprised how many teenagers really do want to work with their hands. Okay. There are teenagers that go, I want to be an electrician. I like how things work. I want to take something apart and figure out how it works and put it back together again. And I think from just a technology standpoint, I think a lot of the industries are moving towards technology. They're moving towards VR training, augmented reality. So I think it's really the perfect, we're about to hit that perfect timing for the Z generation of technologically, sound and proficient students, and the industries to get to that space where they're using more technology to where it's going to be the perfect fit. I think a perfect example is Port Everglades for crane operators. A lot of their training is from a virtual reality standpoint, and we do a lot of virtual reality training with our students. So we use Oculus headsets to teach them how to use forklift driving. So that's the training mechanism to use the same cranes that will lift a shipping container from the port and drop it onto a vessel, or remove it from a vessel and drop it onto the port. So if you have this generation that is just really sound and they really pick up on VR and augmented reality, that's your workforce for the next 10, 15, 20 years for crane operators if you really wanted to be intentional about it.
Oh wow! So the benefits are endless.
Yeah. So it's I think people they assume that it's a deficit because they're technology reliant, but it's really not. I think people are going to be surprised in the next couple of years as the industries catch up to technology, and the students who are technology proficient get aged up enough to jump into the workforce.
Wow. Okay.
And I would say, Johnny, we have to tell the story.
Right.
Because they're on the technology, using the different TikToks, the Facebooks. Tell the story, bring it live to them enough times that they'll want to, embrace it and see what it's all about.
Okay. Well, I have a question for Mike, and I'm going to come right back to you, Kathy. Okay, so Mike, and when you have your classes, what are some of the strategies that you use for teaching?
We use a combination of technology and old book, and basically in our trades, you're using your hands, you're using your mind, and sometimes when you're doing stuff with technology, you still have to use a shovel, you still have to use a drill. And what we try to do is get them more hands-on training as much as possible, even through the classroom. Teach them the theory through computers and through the books, but more teach them how to use their hands and work smarter and not harder. And that's the key thing, make everything in one move. And those are things that are not really taught a whole lot out in the real world. So you want to teach them with the technology and show them, hey, you can do this all in one step, save time, save money, and save the contractor the money that they're out there. Think ahead, and the biggest thing is, don't be worried about jumping in there and making a mistake, because that's how you learn. You're not a failure unless you don't get up and try again. Wow. And that's the biggest thing we have to teach the Gen X generation, because there's so many of them that if they try something and they don't succeed right away, they kind of fold away. They don't want to get up and do it again. And I think that's where we've gotten away with from that growing up. I mean, we fell off a bicycle. You had to get back up and learn how to ride that bicycle again. And unfortunately, a lot of times we don't do that with computers, and we say, well, it's just not for me. Well, maybe it is for you, but you just got to spend a little more time on it.
So it's a lot of life skills in there too, as far as perseverance.
You have to do a lot of relating.
Keep going at it until you get it. No, that is so true, because you find like you said, you find a lot of young people today that if it's too hard, if it takes too much time, you know, if I can't do it in 5 minutes or less, then it's not for me. When all of a sudden it could be for you. But I'm so glad that your program gears their mindset and to help them to rethink. Because most of our kids, they operate with their hands already. You're just refocusing how they use their hands now, which is also great. I love that.
You got to make it to where they buy in. If they're not going to buy into your apprenticeship, if it's not instant, they lose focus. So you got to get them to buy in, put the material in their hand, put the tools in their hand, and say, okay, here, you do it. And I sit back and watch them. And what we do is I pick a person in every class is going to be the foreman on the job. So it's their job to run the classroom as far as all the demonstrations that we're doing. And if they're doing, like the other night we were cutting pipe. Okay, divide your groups up. Here's your pipe stands, here's your sawzalls, here's your cutters. Go to it, and they all taking turns, but I had one guy running it, making sure. So they get a little bit of everything, so they feel like they're succeeding in different things. And it creates a bond amongst them, because in our trade, you may not be the boss on this job, but you might be the foreman on the next. So that guy that you're working for now is going to be working for you. So they learn how to treat each other, take care of each other, and build a bond and a brother and sisterhood the way it needs to be. And when you get that, the peer pressure follows right in to help push that class along, basically almost to a point on its own, and you just keep feeding the monster as they grow.
Wow.
And that's the best way to do it.
That's awesome.
And to speak to that, you know, getting this younger generation to buy in, I think through pre-apprenticeship and through apprenticeship programs, it's structured in a way that it organically happens. When you have a class that's taught by somebody who's been in the industry for 20, 30, 40 years, there's a lot of knowledge and experience that you're not going to get in a textbook. And, you know, as we do program days, we do a lot of work site shadows. So the students are, you know, they're following somebody who's been in the industry, and the conversations that you hear when they're teaching is very different from the conversations during the break or during lunch. That's when the conversations start, and you get that sense that they're passing on the torch. You know, you have that person that, like an apprenticeship instructor talking to a group of young men saying, hey, it's going to be hard when you start. You know, you might not get it the first time or the second time, but just keep at it. You know, keep at it. And they speak in a way about the trades where you're not going to get in a textbook. For example, we were at a propeller shop this afternoon, and a gentleman, he's been in the propeller business for 48 years. And the way he speaks about, you know, balancing a propeller, it's an art form.
Wow.
You know, when you read a textbook, it's all about degrees and measurements and calculations. But for him, he's like, you have to feel it with your fingertips. And he's, you know, he's sitting there with the students. He's like, feel it with your fingertips. And all of a sudden, you have this kid that 6 months ago had no idea that propellers were even a business.
Right.
Wow.
And he has somebody who's made a living out of propellers. And propellers aren't just propellers to him. It's a lifestyle. It's a passion. It's something gorgeous to him. And that's how you get the buy-in. That's how you get somebody to go from not knowing about an industry to, I want to do this for the rest of my life. You know, I want my kids to do this. I want to make a living out of this. And I want to teach other people how to do this.
So it's important to have the right person in front of young people, talking to them about it, someone who's passionate about it, someone who knows the ins and outs about it, and someone who can make an art out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is awesome.
Absolutely.
Now, Catherine, your organization, how do you tap into apprenticeship programs? And how does that work within your organization that you tap into that? Because I know you're more on the legislative side of it.
Correct.
Of the complexities of how it works.
What we've done is started to build relationships with all of the stakeholders that's in the apprenticeship wheelhouse. And that includes the colleges, the school board, the training programs, working with the Department of Education to understand that everyone that we are working with, they're the right person to be working with. So yes, the legislation, we started back in 2018, crafting it and making those conversations happen
Right.
to understand what was the priority or what is the priority in the each of the programs. And so we have stakeholders, we have legislators, former Commissioner Dale Holness, the current Commissioner, former Senator Steve Geller. They are the voice and the ambassadors for the construction apprenticeship program. So yes.
Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome.
Mr. Geller has done a great job. He's really refocused a lot in Broward County,
Yes.
bringing the school board on, because we deal with the school board. All of my instructors are part of the school board. We work with ATC. We're part of their DOME program of apprenticeships. And I think the impact that he has had in getting with them has really opened a lot more doors.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
awesome. My father was in the construction business, so I am apprentice of what he was doing. He took me everywhere he went when he did construction work. So he would do that. So me putting in a kitchen cabinet is no problem. Me lining up a 16 on center, make sure the wall is right is not a problem for me at all. What I'd love to find out now is when it comes to apprenticeship programs, are there still a couple of barriers or some barriers that you still find that need to be overcome?
Yes.
Yes. I'll let Mike go, and then I'll touch on that.
I think one of the problems, as much as the Broward County schools have really come around, it's the PTA area, it's the guidance counselors, getting them on a page and realize that apprenticeships are not for people that they say are not ready for college. We have a lot of guys that have BAs, master degrees. We have guys that have college degrees working in our trades, running companies. Sometimes they don't want to own their own company. They run a company for somebody. And they have to realize that, it's not only about college. And a lot of them didn't even realize the school we were at prior to ATC, we were there for almost 50 some years. And when I talked to the counselors finally, they had no idea I was part of that school for the 50 years I was there. They had no idea what was going on. And you can't really blame them, but it's just, you gotta focus everything. I think when the trades went out of the schools, they kind of just got pushed aside. There's a couple of great programs out there. South Plantation has a great program. It's Plantation High School that has a great program, construction program. There's a great mechanic program out at Cooper City. There's also a great program going on at Sheridan Tech.
Yes.
What they run out of there, it's very nice, and we get a lot of our guys from the programs there, and they do a phenomenal job.
Okay, and so Catherine, one for you, when you talk about the legislative part of it, how are they tackling some of these barriers that you guys that the apprenticeship programs see? Are you guys speaking to that, or do you talk about that, or is that discussed?
I believe they're addressing them. They're hosting and have hosted quarterly meetings with all of the stakeholders, which includes the Brace Advisors in Broward County Public Schools, the colleges and universities coming around, to understand programs like Junior Achievement.
Right.
We did a tour there recently, and Felix was able to make a presentation and share with them what's happening behind those doors. And so I think more of that continues to happen, and they are understanding the needs of the training programs. They've become, again, a voice for them to be able to understand what's needed.
Oh, that is awesome. That is so awesome. Now, last question is, what is the difference between technical schools and apprenticeship programs? Or is there a difference at all?
Yeah, there's a difference. First of all, let me say, the technical schools that are put up by Broward County are top of the line. But that impacts mostly younger kids and the high school kids. Some of the technical schools that are out there, not part of the school system, it's more profit than it is a teaching aspect. And a lot of times these guys go to these technical schools and they get their knowledge, but they're not getting that on-the-job training that you need to get. So when they leave there, they get out in the market, and they have student loans that they have to pay back. But when you go to a company and you say, I have my technology degree, and they say, okay, how much experience have you had in the field? And they, well, it's a very little. So all of a sudden that different range of pay scale is going to come into effect. Whereas you complete an apprenticeship program, you've done the 5 years of training. And you've been in the field, you work, so you're bringing 5 years of experience in the field as well as the knowledge that you gained in the classroom. And the amount of doors that an apprenticeship will open compared to a technology school is unbelievable. We have the inspectors come in and they do their classes at our local. And another one of my apprentices now who turned out a couple years ago, is now another inspector. So we've turned out a lot of the inspectors. The doors that open up through an apprenticeship compared to a technology school is widening.
Well, that is awesome. Well, I enjoyed having you guys today with us on our podcast, our program today, talking about apprenticeship programs and how it impacts the trade. And from you listening to you guys this morning, it impacts a whole lot of people, a whole lot of kids, and our economy grows, and we love you for what you do for our children. Thank you so much when it comes to apprenticeship programs. Also, I'd like you to tap into the City of Miramar. Go on our website, MiramarFL.gov, and please register with the City of Miramar's Business Pulse newsletter. In there, you will find everything that's going on in the City of Miramar. Going out to our LinkedIn page as well, Economic Development and Housing, our LinkedIn page. You'll find a lot of information there as well when it comes to supporting your business and growing your business and take it to the next level. Also, I'd like you to also tap into our website again, because you'll find out that the City of Miramar has now rewards program where we support our businesses. The City of Miramar, and for any community person who is shopping in the City of Miramar with any of the city businesses, will get 5% credit on their card for shopping in those businesses in the City of Miramar. So look for Miramar Rewards. And until next time, be nice, be kind, but most importantly, stay connected.
Thanks for listening to the Business Connect podcast. Be sure to visit MiramarFL.gov/podcast to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. We would love for you to subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes. Until next time.